What's up, guys? J.R. Raymond back again, coming to you from BowlerX, where we're going to sit down with Jesper Svensson from Sweden. We're going to talk a little bit about two-handed bowling, how he got into two-handed bowling, and what it's like coming over to the U.S. and bowling on the PBA Tour. So stay tuned. All good. What's up, guys? Welcome back. I'm here with Jesper Svensson from Sweden, right?
That's right.
Sweden. So he comes over here every year to bowl in all of the PBA events, most of the PBA events. I know he probably doesn't come over for some of the smaller ones, right? But
No, not really like any regionals or anything, but
right.
I tried to bowl most of the PBA events.
Yeah, yeah. So what is it that made you come over here to the U.S. that wanted to make you compete with the guys over here rather than just staying over there? Because the money's actually pretty good overseas, right?
Yeah, Europe is maybe taking a little bit of a beat over the last couple of years, but it's I hope it's going to come back strong, and I still enjoy bowling on the European tour like really much, and then Asia's got very good money and all that, but it's called PBA for a reason.
Right.
I think like it's a professional. That's where the professional bowls, and you know, it was always like a big dream for me to be able to come over here and from the start, like bowl against the people I saw on YouTube and on TV and all that.
Right.
And here I am, been doing it for 6 years now, and still going.
Yeah, and you've been really, really successful. You've done a lot of great things over the last few years. How many majors do you have now?
I have 7 titles total with 1 major.
One major,
like,
7
like
titles.
a flying start to my PBA career.
Yeah.
Like the first couple of years were very, very good. And I think that's what really I've had kind of a rough like a year and a half in the past where I haven't really achieved what I want to achieve. But
Right.
I also
I know that
understand-
feeling all too much. Trust me.
I also understand that every career has to go up and it has to go down at
Right.
times. So it's just I think what makes you a great athlete is how you handle a defeat, like how you try to get back stronger and work on your game, and your mental game and your physical game is really important.
Right.
So I'm still trying to find keys to get back on TV and win on TV, because that's still one of the most fantastic feelings I've ever had. So that's what keeps me pushing forward every day and try to get better.
Right. So speaking of physical game, so you're one of the most powerful two-handed bowlers on tour. What got you into two-handed bowling? What made you say, you know what, I'm going to throw with 2 hands rather than 1?
When I grew up, my dad used to run the bowling center back in my home city. So, you know, all my spare time, I was just hanging out in the bowling center. Yeah, I just started really, really young. And I couldn't even throw the ball with 1 hand because it was too heavy. And it just kept on going from there.
Just a comfort thing.
Just the comfort thing, that's how I've always been doing it. And as I was young, it was cool to be able to get a couple of extra reps on the ball and stuff like that. And then as soon as I figured out how to create some more ball speed, I think that's when I realized that, okay, this is what I want to do. That was got me into bowling like full time instead of trying to play ice hockey or soccer. I was doing all types of different sports growing up, but I decided bowling is my thing, and I don't regret it. Like the people I met and the experience I've collected throughout the years so far has been great, and I hope I still have a lot of years to come as a professional bowler.
I mean, you're young. How old are you now?
24.
Oh, yeah, you're real young.
Hopefully, I have a bunch of more years to go.
Man, I just want my hair back. That's all I want. So back to the physical game thing. So I know I get a lot of questions from people who are asking about two-handed bowling and making videos about two-handed bowling. So we were talking earlier, and I thought the greatest thing would be to get someone like you or Belmo or or Simonson or anybody to make their own channel to do their own tips. But if you had one tip for a two-handed aspiring bowler right now, what would it be?
I would say to make sure you create your ball speed with your legs.
Okay.
Like, don't try to force it with your upper body, because I'm still doing the mistake, so it's not easy thing to do. But when you try to create ball speed with your upper body, that's gonna make you use too much muscles, and that makes your elbow come out, and you have no chance to control where your ball is gonna go off your hand.
Yeah.
So to make sure your legs move faster to be able to create ball speed, and then you can have way more control on your upper body and make sure you're lined up correctly and that you can stay in line for your ball approach.
Right. Yeah, and I would agree. Like the ball speed thing is the hardest thing to create when it comes to two-handed. I tried to throw some shots because I've done a lot of coaching over my years. When I worked at TurboTech, I had a lot of two-handers that came in, and that was the one question I always got asked was, how do I increase my ball speed? And it was always the same thing. It's about the legs. It's about doing the right thing, being quicker with your feet, more so than trying to throw it with your chest or with your arms. And even when I tried to throw it with two hands, I couldn't get it quick enough to be able to throw it fast. So my rev rate went up to 500, but then my ball speed went down to 12. So
exactly,
it was
and I think that's the thing for every young two-handed player. Like, it's easier to create rev rate than ball speed.
Mm-hmm.
But the ball speed is the key to be a successful two-handed.
Right.
And as soon as you figure out how to move your legs faster and still be able to have good timing to make sure you get all that momentum you build up during your approach to go out on the lane is the key, I think.
Right. So the burning question, this is going to be the one thing, and a lot of the guys out here talk about it, and a lot of the people at home talk about it. They see you throw an awful lot of urethane. You love to use that pitch black, and now you're using, what's that fever, right, is one that you really like?
Pitch black, yeah.
What's it going to take what is the struggle that you see with reactive versus urethane?
I think because I've used so much urethane in the past, I think my eyes are just so used to see that very early ball reaction and that smooth reaction, which makes it easier for me to control the pocket. And then I just gotta pray that my rev rate is gonna give me the carry I need to be successful in a particular event. But I mean, I know people sometimes joke about it and everything, but the thing is that whenever I feel like reactive balls is going to give me a better chance to strike, I'm going to use it.
Of course. No.
I'm going to use it. But to get me as comfortable as I can get, it's mostly with a urethane ball when I can control the pocket much easier, and then I can work with my hand position and ball speed to try to get it to go through the pins the right way.
Right. Yeah. And a lot of people, it's the same thing like with Jacob Buttroff. He's on the same side. He loves his black and purple hammers. It's the same type of thing. You always see him using those urethane. But if I were to ask him the same question, I bet you'd be the same thing. It's that specific shape that he likes to see, that you guys like to see, that it's just completely different than using a resin ball. Have you tried using any short pins, like going 1 inch to your pap or anything like that?
Yeah, I've really been messing around with some layouts and different balls and all that. And, you find some keys that you think you can work with and all that. And like some of the balls that I've been drilling up, I really like. So it's not so much about, like, I can't get it right. It's just more that I prefer the controlled ball shape that I get out of the urethane.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got that favorite ball in their bag. They try to go to it as much as possible whenever they can, and it makes sense.
And because it's a urethane ball, that makes more sense to start with a urethane ball more than go into your comfort ball in the middle of a block.
Right.
But if you start with urethane, it's harder to go away from it because that's my favorite ball. Like it takes maybe a little bit more convincing for me to move out of it, because that's what I like to do. Right.
Yeah, I got you. So how did your week, because we're in Aurora right now, how'd your week go? How'd your month go? How were you out at all the events this year, or for the summer?
I bowled a whole lot this year, and this summer I bowled every event since we were in Virginia.
Oh, okay.
So Chesapeake, yeah. And I started off real well in Chesapeake. I finished 7th, I think.
Right.
So I was close to make the show. Felt like I was going to give him a run the last couple of games, but didn't really get it right. So 7th really was a good finish for me to start off the summer swing or the summer tour. And since then, it's been pretty much a disaster. I've been you know, when you feel like you're struggling and then you're starting to struggle mentally, and when you turn into a mental train wreck, you're in big trouble.
Oh yeah.
So I've been trying to work my way up again. And this week in Aurora, I think I physically bowled better than I've done in like a year. I bowled really well. I think my shot making was really good, and I felt sharp. And it wasn't enough to make any of the cuts, unfortunately, which is kind of embarrassing. Sorry you were saying that. But,
Yeah, no, that's how I've been saying. That's what I've been saying.
You know, when things feels good and you still don't make the cuts, then you know it's something else you need to find in your game or in your thinking or something like that gives you the key to be able to perform the way you're supposed to. Because I feel like when I'm sharp, I should be able to make some cuts out here, and I haven't. So it's tough. It feels tough, but you know, what are you gonna do? You gotta keep trying. You know, you break down a little
grinding.
bit, and then you try to get back on course and get back for the next event.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was talking to Simonelli, I think it was last week or one of the weeks here previously. He said the same thing. It's all about trying to get your off hits to strike more. If your off hits aren't striking, you're in trouble. You know, because these guys, you know, they're striking an awful lot. The guys who are doing well, they're finding a way to, you know, throw 4 and 5 baggers every game. If your off hits aren't striking, you know, and you're only throwing a double here and there, you're going to be well behind.
It's definitely tough. Just like you say, I felt I was in a good position going into the second day of Bear, and I just couldn't figure out how to get a string of strikes. Like every time I hit light, I feel like I left a mixer 10-pin or something like that, and when you can't catch those hits, you're doing something wrong, and then you're gonna get ran over by the rest of the field because there's so many good bowlers out there. So you need to make sure you're perfectly lined up with the right ball and that you're sharp. Otherwise, you're not gonna have a chance.
Yeah. So for those of you watching this who think I'm crazy when I say that there's a lot of variables that go on with whether you're going to bowl well or bowl bad, and it's not always just about shot making, this also proves it. So there's a lot more to it. There's a lot more to bowling well out on tour than just throwing good shots. All these guys throw good shots. Everybody knows where the ball's going. It's whether you have the right ball in your hand and the right part of the lane, doing the right thing with your hand is what's going to determine whether you're successful or not. So Jesper, I appreciate you stopping out and having a chat with me.
Yeah,
we're gonna sit down with a couple other guys, and I appreciate you. So hopefully I can convince you to start your own YouTube channel to do a little bit more with two-handed bowling and teach some of these kids and these, you know, even some of the older guys who are trying to convert to two-handed bowling, maybe giving them some tips here on your own channel here shortly. So
I mean, it's up to you guys. If you want to see me make my own YouTube channel, you better leave a comment down below and see what we got.
There we go. Appreciate you coming out. Thanks again.
Thanks,
we'll see you later.
Thank you.